Okay, we're talking about pulmonary emboli and the potential for medical malpractice cases. A pulmonary embolus is literally a blood clot that goes and lodges into the heart and then up into the lungs, which causes a person to have difficulty exchanging air and can even cause sudden death. 100% of the time, practically, the source of the blood clot is what we call a deep vein thrombosis, a fancy word for saying that there's a blood clot that's usually in one of the veins in the lower legs. And the veins are different than arteries. In your circulatory system, you have arteries, which carry oxygenated blood that has already been filled up with oxygen from the heart and the lungs, and that artery takes that blood into your muscles, and it takes it into your organs, and your muscles and organs use the oxygen and pull that off. Once that blood has been used, it has to return back to the heart and back to the lungs in order to get reoxygenated. That goes through the veins. Well, the veins in your lower extremities are very, very big, and oftentimes when people they may be predisposed to getting blood clots in those veins. If you sit on a plane for a long period of time and don't get up and move around, or for that matter, if people have a pre-existing cancer. Cancer is a predisposition toward having blood clots. But for whatever the reason, there's a blood clot, and then if people get up and move, that blood clot essentially shifts and migrates up through the vascular system, goes through the right side of the heart, and then gets lodged into the lungs, and people die. Now, where you see medical negligence is when people show up with symptoms and they're ignored. They're not properly worked up. The symptoms that are typically associated with a deep vein thrombosis, the DVT, is pain in the legs, pain, swelling, usually in the calf area. You squeeze the calf, and that's called a Yeoman sign. But there are other symptoms that are associated with deep vein thrombi. And if those symptoms are not properly addressed, if they're ignored, if they're basically minimized, and it can have devastating effects. So a person could be running around with blood clots in their veins, and they get up and go to the restroom, and that blood clot shifts off, and boom, next thing you know, it's in the heart and lungs, and they drop dead. I personally have litigated probably about a dozen pulmonary embolism cases. We've settled pretty much all of them because the damages are huge. I mean, usually these people don't make it, they die. So PE is a real phenomena in this world. It's so prevalent that people should be aware of it. When people start having pain in their legs, it just pops up without any trauma. You didn't bump yourself on a table or anything. All of a sudden you're sitting there, you just have pain in your calf. People need to think about having a deep vein thrombosis, and that necessarily should cause people to think, hey, let's try to avoid somebody having a pulmonary embolism and dying. So those are the situations that you typically see with pulmonary emboli and medical malpractice. And once again, if you think that somebody that you know or a loved one has suffered a pulmonary embolism and the doctors just blew it, there were symptoms that were going on that were just simply ignored, give us a call. I would love to thoroughly go through each and every page of the medical records associated with your loved one's care and tell you what happened.